You are burning money, and your investors and accountants are telling you to start a procurement department because things are out of control. The procurement department is usually recommended when a company is trying to contain expenses and maximize cash flow. Your supplier numbers are increasing, and there's no way to track the success of your suppliers, and you have no idea where the money's going. That's typically the scenario that happens. So, a procurement professional comes in and standardizes the practices of working with external vendors. We streamline external operations and bring in operational efficiencies. The benefit can be confused with an operations officer because some of those same benefits should be brought on from a COO, but they often don't have the lens of a procurement professional because they are looking at overall numbers, not your cultural buying practices within your company. Procurement has reported into operations and finance departments, and it's up to you to decide where you want to place your procurement department. But it's important to note the implications of where you place your procurement department. The strategic choice to bring on procurement can bring on more capacity, but if you don't build them into the operational system that you currently have, it will not go well, or it will take longer to see the results that you're looking for. So with the procurement person, you get a blend of operations, finance, and strategy. Where you place them is really important, but depending on how you place them and where can lead you to different results. The things they can help you do, they can facilitate a sourcing process. They can help you consult on your vendor management process, your IT, and even your accounting process, because they typically come on way more upstream. So you know the benefits, you know the why. I'm just going to start. But some of the things you want to think about before you hire your procurement department are metrics. What are the cash flow improvements that you're going after? And then some watch outs before you do this. So metrics, you're ringing them in to save money and stop the chaos. But one thing that I recommend you do as a success measure for your procurement department is that they should fund themselves. When you're starting a procurement department and they are funded by an arbitrary savings goal, you are setting them up to fail because it has not existed. And a procurement professional is going to bring you savings into your organization, full stop. But if you set them up with that expectation right away, you will set an expectation across your organization on what a procurement department is to do. Savings cannot be your only reason to bring on a procurement department because at the scale of your company, you may not be able to keep up that savings rate, and you will have people questioning what the procurement department does because they won't reach those goals. So I had strongly advised against tying them to a savings metric, at least for the first year or so. Aspirational goals versus requirements. And then there's cash flow. A common practice that consulting companies will come in and do is to say, y'all's payment terms are too low. You should not be paying your suppliers this swiftly. And I recommend you raise your payment terms to an increasingly large amount over 100 days. This sounds great in theory. Now let's talk about metrics. If you're just starting out, you've been told that a procurement department is going to bring you immense savings and dramatically change your organization. They will dramatically change your organization and they will eventually bring you large savings, but you want to think about the expectations that you're setting with them when they first start. Your procurement department should fund itself. That should be the initial metric that you judge their success on, because a lot of the benefit that they bring into your organization is intangible in the beginning. It sets the foundation to reach large savings in the future, but your expectations have to be at them self-funding themselves based on the savings that they create. If the savings goal is arbitrary, like 5% every year for the next 5 years or 10%, it's made up and they will eventually run out of spend to optimize, and people will see them as the cost-cutting police and no one will want to work with them, especially with them being newer in your organization. You want to be really cautious on setting savings as the initial primary goal of your procurement department. There are other metrics that you can set up, like KPIs and SLAs, that are based on their overall service and their accuracy, but you want to caution from setting up an arbitrary savings goal as they're just starting out. Congratulations, you've now been in business long enough to become the villain. Someone has proposed to you that you need to go to net 90 or net 120 payment terms in order to increase the cash flow in your business. And procurement is the first line of defense in helping you with cash flow in the company because we fight for longer payment terms and partner with your stakeholders to make this happen. You can set yourself up for success by committing to procurement and good procurement principles, and we will work with you to reach these goals. But you want to be really intentional about the expectations you set on increasing the cash flow within your business using payment terms increasing because it is a dramatic shift, especially for some of the smaller players that you might work with. If you have a large amount of contractors and consultants in your company, you want to be cautious on how you approach this because it could cripple your supply chain because you'll have a bunch of disgruntled people that you work with, and you want to make sure that doesn't impact your ability to deliver services. So keep this in mind as you're exploring payment term increase project. You will hear this from your procurement department, but you want to make sure you don't sign up for this project without consulting the procurement person that you bring on to your company because it will have some you'll have some challenges. Now let's talk about the hard parts. People don't want the procurement department. They want to keep buying whatever they want without any restrictions. So expect for people to not like the process. It does not mean that your procurement process is wrong or failing. It means they don't want change. You can't steamroll them though. You have to get your business partners on board or else they'll take the success of your procurement department and ruin the efforts of your procurement department. You can do this with good change management and good communication from the procurement department that you hire. They will know how to manage those changes, but you want to expect that there's going to be pushback, and sometimes the pushback might seem valid, and then sometimes it might be user pushback or user unwillingness to change, and understanding the difference is going to help you out immensely. You also want to be really cautious of the procurement software that you currently have and are about to procure. There is plenty of legacy procurement software that is in the ecosystem, but that can make or break the execution of your procurement department and some of the ambitious goals that they have set out. It doesn't mean to go out and buy the newest thing because the newest thing may not solve your problem. So there are some large watch outs, and you want to have a very clear understanding of the procurement software landscape because if you don't have an understanding of the procurement software landscape, or your process, the users who come and complain to you about it not working or the software not working, you might believe them. But without an understanding of the software landscape and the procurement world and your own procurement process, it's going to be very hard and create a lot of challenges in this change management process. And you can solve most of these issues by doing some research in the procurement software out there, working with a consultant, or just hiring hiring the right person. They will come in and have that expertise in place and you won't have to worry about a thing. But that is really hard to do. So, fine as you were starting the procurement department. And next, let's talk about legal. Good collaboration with your legal team and your procurement team is crucial for the success of your procurement department. And the way for you to do this is to make sure legal knows that procurement is coming and has carved out time to collaborate with them. I've been in organizations where this doesn't happen, and you see the effects on the cycle time for contracts and the ability for the teams to consistently collaborate. And you can liaise that collaboration with two simple assignments that will bring your procurement and legal department together. And that is templates and a contract handbook. You're starting your procurement department from scratch. You likely don't have a contract template or handbook. And these are standard things that legal needs to communicate to procurement that they require in contracts. When procurement understands what legal needs from a contract perspective for specific terms like indemnification and force majeure, they can negotiate before it gets to legal and get the favorable terms that legal needs. So by the time they are reviewing the contract, it is not their 100% responsibility to explain the company's position to get the terms that is needed. And that is a time savings. On top of the templates, the handbook can lay out what are those certain fallback clauses they're willing to give up on. And when procurement and legal collaborate on this, then it becomes about the work and how things get done. And a good contract lifecycle management tool can help if it's something that legal is willing to share with procurement and vice versa. They need to be on the same technical page, the same paperwork page for them to work well together. And if they don't have that up front, they'll fail in collaboration. What I'll leave you with is principles. You can plan for great collaboration with procurement and legal. You can make sure you set great goals, but it's more important than anything else before you start a procurement department to decide principally who do you want your procurement department to be and what value do you want them to bring to the company. And this principle will help you time and time again. Be good to do business with. People want to like the person they do business with. You want to make sure you're easy to do business with. And that sounds great, right? But what does that actually mean? Setting expectations for how your suppliers get paid, letting them know what your process is, clear communication. You can summarize it to communication, but this is going to be the thing that makes your procurement department good to work with or not. People want to work with people that they like, that they're easy to work with. Become easy to work with. That will help the implementation of your procurement department more than anything. Times get rough and suppliers can go through hard times, and they're going to look out for the people who were looking out for them. And you want to make sure when there's a crisis like the global pandemic or something even smaller, that you don't have to worry about the delivery of services. And when you're good to do business with, you won't have to worry about that at all. So thank you for listening. And I wish you luck in the start of your procurement department. And if you are interested in more videos like this, subscribe, leave some comments, and we'll put some more stuff out. Thank you for listening. I'm Serena, the engineer. Have a good one.